So, to all of our YouTube listeners and everybody in this virtual community, welcome to CSL Charlotte. We are the Mind, Body, Spirit Center. So, today, our topic is the emotion decoder. And too bad you didn't hear it, our platform prayer, you would have heard her decode the whole talk. So next on our platform is my friend Ruby G, Jerry Campbell. She is definitely going to get us focused and get us to understand the emotion decoder.
Good morning, everyone. It's always a pleasure to be able to share something that our very own pastor, Reverend Rosedale Jones, has written. The title of this particular reading is Decoding the Language of Emotion. There is a language that lives beneath our thoughts. They are there long before we form words and long before we figure out what's happening. Something inside us is already responding to life. A tightening in the chest, a warmth in the heart, a sudden quiet sense of knowing. Recall these emotions, but maybe they are more than feelings. Actually, they are signals. They are subtle communications arising from the deeper intelligence of life, moving within us. Science has helped us understand that our brains and bodies are constantly interpreting the world around us. Signals move through the nervous system, patterns of activity appear in the brain, and the body adjusts in ways we may not consciously notice at first. But the experience of emotion itself, in the form of a sense of sadness, gratitude, fear, or joy, of course, they cannot be placed under a microscope. It's known not by measurement, it's known by self-awareness. It's something we feel from the inside. And this invites a powerful question. What if our emotions are not interruptions in our lives, but information about our lives? What if every feeling carries a message about life, is moving through us, asking for attention, inviting growth, or opening us to something new? When we pause long enough to listen rather than react, our emotions begin to reveal their quiet wisdom. Perhaps the deeper invitation is simply this: to become curious about our inner life, to recognize that the same intelligence shaping the rhythms of nature also moves within our thoughts, our bodies, and our feelings. And when we begin to listen to those subtle signals with openness rather than judgment, we may discover that life has been communicating with us all along. The following is a quote from our Reverend Rosedale Jones. Emotions are not disturbances in our consciousness. They are signals revealing how life is moving within us, waiting to be understood. And so it is.
Good. So, we are about to start with a short centering. So with that, relax your eyes, looking into your lap or closing them if you choose. And now all you have to do now is just relax by breathing in nice and deep and really long. And then once you do that, exhale even longer. Listen, I got a question for you. Did you know that when you wake up in the morning, before you even utter a word or think about an experience of the day, something is already moving in and through you? Even right now, it goes past our logical mind and into the spirit, our oneness with spirit, so we can align with what's unfolding through us as us. It's always going to be there. The lyrics that we just experienced wasn't something just to think about. I'm going to keep moving forward through it all. No, it wasn't just that. Inside those lyrics were messages for you and me to decode for ourselves. So keep listening and wiggle your fingers and your toes and integrate your mind, body, and spirit. And once you float your eyes open again, bring your awareness to the emotion decoder information, because you're going to be doing that for the rest of your life after this one. That's your choice. So let's just go here first. Just imagine you waking up in the morning and before a single thought even forms anywhere near you, your mind in a different part of your body or whatever, realize there's something inside you and it already knows the tone of that day. So yeah, I get up in the morning and I make my schedule and I decide what I'm doing, who I'm seeing, and where I'm going. I do it every morning. I never let my day go by without having that. But it's already known. Sometimes there's a quiet sense of ease in my body. And sometimes there's a heaviness that I can't explain. Nothing even happened yet. No conversation, no news, no event, none of that. But yet, something inside of me is already speaking. And I say me, but it's you too. But I can't force you to believe that. So I only have to own it myself for now. Have you ever experienced that? Have you ever experienced a moment where something shifts in you that you just can't explain? Maybe you had a moment when the body knows something before your mind has even thought about catching up. But the body knew. Maybe it was grief. Maybe it was gratitude. All of these are emotions. Maybe it was a sudden sense of peace. But they all seem to arrive out of nowhere. Have you experienced that? These feelings? Well, there have been many people who have brought this type of language to us in spirituality or different. Oh, we got so many sections of spirituality, so many movements of it. But I'm thinking of people that have brought some of this stuff to the forefront for us to make it understandable. Ernest Holmes, Thomas Troward, Walt Whitman, and all of these people, they kept putting it out there. How about way back in the BC days, where philosophers really begun before the times of Jesus, right? If you will, the Christianity piece. But they were always thinking and putting it out here for us to think like this, to recognize who we are. And okay, but see, those are great thinkers and great teachers. I really have to give it to them because they have helped us through the years to actually describe more about spirituality. Because see, some of these things that once were difficult to explain become more easier when certain thinkers and listeners and people start to bringing it to us. So I decided that I'd be one of the people nowadays. I think I'm evolved to the point where I can tell people something new. And they even help me to come up with the words to describe a little bit more to the people that listen to me. So I call that the emotion decoder. It's still a spiritual practice, but it's just, I'm going to coin it this year and I'm going to make that part of my next 30-day book. But the emotion decoder is a way to recognize that your emotions are not just noises to control you or problems that you have to eliminate. It's not that. Emotions are messages, and they are signals. And they're telling us something about our environment. They're telling us something about the person I'm speaking to. They're telling me something about everyone in this particular congregation because I am looking and feeling for the energy when I'm talking all the time. And then not only am I feeling the energy of the room, I'm also feeling the energy within me. So with that being said, let me share a story about the emotion decoder, but I'm going to bring the emotion decoder to life through this house. So many years ago, a man inherited a house from his grandmother, and it had been in the family forever, for centuries, generations, and the house was still beautiful on its own, and it was very old. The floors creaked, the windows would rattle in the wind. Every once in a while, a strange sound would come in the hallways at night. But the first few weeks he lived there, those sounds really bothered him. So every creak felt suspicious. Every unfamiliar sound or whatever noise that house made him uneasy. He turned out to feel uneasy. His mind started telling stories. And because of your emotions, your mind will tell you stories too. But he was saying something like, something must be wrong with this house, or something's wrong with this place, or this is not good. Right? These are his first reaction to all of these things. Then one day, a carpenter came by because he needed some work done in the house. And so the man had this man help him do a few things. So as they walked through the rooms looking for the things that he needed to show him, another one of those familiar creaks came out of the floor. And he said, there's that sound again. I don't know what that sound is, but it makes me nervous. See all these feelings the man is getting. So what happened? The carpenter smiled and he said, you know what? That's not a problem. That's the house communicating with you. And the man looked confused. The carpenter said, old houses speak through their wood and their beams. We have skeletons, the wood, the beams that keep us still. But now the house got all of that and windows and all that. So that can be interpreted as the house telling you what the sounds mean, but it's the way you look at it and interpret it. So the carpenter decoded the sounds for him like this. He said, well, when the temperature changes, the wood expands. And so when you step on it, it creaks. Okay, that's one good way. And that kind of lowered his fears a little bit. But when the earth shifts, did you know that the earth shifts a lot? We may not feel it, but the universe knows exactly what it's doing. But anyway, the floors begin to adjust. The sounds in the walls, the little soft taps that you hear sometimes, it's just the pipes inside warming up or changing. Maybe you're turning on your air conditioner. Maybe you're turning on your furnace, but it's just a soft little tap. But these sounds, they're just responding to the house is just responding to its environment, the environment that we set when we walk into it. See, our body sends signals too. And that's what we call emotions. Now, they respond to our environment in a much the same way as the house responds to a new environment, us new people coming into it. And once we begin to interpret the language of our body, those signals no longer feel so mysterious to us. So for that man, when he understood what the sounds meant and they were decoded for him, his relationship to the noises or sounds in the house changed. Now, once he felt that distraction, it was seeming off-putting to him. It was seeming like, ooh, but then those same distractions that he called distractions became his information. So a creak in the floor now meant the temperature drop. Okay, a knock in the walls meant that the pipes were warming up. Then he decided that the sounds carried meaning now instead of confusion. So give your emotions meaning so that they no longer confuse you. See, science is what helps me understand some of the mechanisms behind my signals. What do you think helps you understand some of the mechanisms in your signals? You got them, whether you are, like I said in the reading, aware. See, science has also taught me that there are structures inside of our body. But let me just talk about one of the structures in the brain, and that is called amygdala, and that is what detects the emotion. Now, if you're in tune spiritually with all of that, then you will come up with a better feeling about it instead of fear. And also, not only is that structure the amygdala in the brain, but also you got this prefrontal cortex that helps to interpret or regulate all those feelings and the signals that you're hearing. But you got to come more in tune with the body in order to do that. So you can be mind, body, and spirit complete, right? So when I take it to the spiritual realm, I learn some more interesting data or information, if you will, like the guy got new information. The feeling is the experience, and it lives within our consciousness. So I admit, I know the feeling is an experience that lives in my consciousness. And that's where the emotion decoder comes in. So if I decide that I'm going to decode my signals that I'm receiving, I'm going to try to get better ideas like the carpenter did. He gave him a better way to think about it. I'm going to think about something better. So I started decoding my own beautiful signals. Sadness does not have to be depressing. Sadness can be something like a part of my life is coming to a completion. Maybe I'll miss that. But it doesn't have to be something I have to dig in deep about, right? It may even be a good thing, but I'm okay. It's just a meaning. It's just a meaning. For fear, I might have a signal that says something like, maybe I'm uncertain. Oh, I need to sit down to become more aware. There's certain things that are uncertain. Then there's this gratitude feeling. Maybe that's a quiet opening of my heart where I recognize that's something I'm thankful for, because every time I notice when I'm grateful, a smile comes in my body. Then it comes on my face. And that's what makes it all so worthwhile to stay connected with this beautiful vehicle. I tell everybody in my classes all the time, these are the most smartest vehicles on the planet that carry these spiritual beings all day long. Your emotion is not the problem. The emotion is the message. Life begins to make more sense when practice, when you decode, when you decide that I'm not going to resist, when I decide that the signals of my body are easier than I would have when my brain was not trained. We have to train them to become more aware in an easier way to avoid stress. Matter of fact, to clear stress, because stress is going to hit at all range, but our emotions are not allowed anymore. Once we start to get the signals, they're not allowed to become random disruptions or random disturbances. They are signals within our life, and we are just adjusting with our emotions, expanding the wood inside of us, if you will, and we are responding to the environment around us. Walk into a room. Have you ever walked into a room where the tension was so thick you can cut it with a knife? You feel that energy. You know your body is either I'm out of here or they're gonna have to change their attitudes because I don't have to be around this. But then if you decide to be there, that's a different story. But just like the structure of the old house, this structure here that we live in, that these human beings, that these spiritual beings carry us in, this structure is always communicating with us. The question is whether the sounds are there or not. So here's the thing. The question is really not whether they're sounds or signals. The question is whether we decode the language so we can understand what our signals mean to us. Sad may say something different to me than you, but it just depends on where your brain training is. It's just that simple. Because then once you get that brain decoded, because it's the computer part of the mind, if you will, and then you got the spiritual part of it, the part that beats our hearts, the part that breathes us, the part that exhales us, the part that when we're sleeping at night, the part that breathes all night long for us. We're not doing this on our own. We did not get the authority to say, hey, I'll do all my breathing from now on. Hey, I'll do all my blinking of my eyes, and I'll move every limb on my body without the help. That's spirit. So if we got mind and we've got body and we've got spirit connected more times than not, then what's interesting is that it can tell us a whole lot about what's happening with us in all of these moments, because scientists are doing a great job with explaining what the brain is doing in these moments. So why don't we start learning what spirit is doing? So neuroscience is what they will tell us is that the brain structures like that amygdala that I talked about, that is all about your emotions, but it also can be, once you start using the amygdala to decode your messages, now your emotions will become less confrontational for you, because this prefrontal cortex is going to help you interpret what's going on in the amygdala. And so think about all that. That's still spirit. They are structures, they're physical structures, the brain, the amygdala, and all the different parts of the brain. Yes, but they can be studied and they can be put under a microscope. But here's the thing. If I ask you to point to me your amygdala, you probably wouldn't be able to, because you don't look at the brain. I do, because I'm just always studying it. But if I asked you to remember a moment, I might tell you, hey, when's your amygdala? Okay, you're not good. But how about this? What if I asked you to describe a moment when you felt deeply loved? Do you know what would happen if I asked you that in a real serious session that we have? Something inside you would respond immediately. It doesn't have to be good or bad. It's just the way you responded to my question. But the emotion decoder is at work once you answer me. While you're trying to answer me, the emotion decoder is at work. Your feeling could be interpreted as sadness, love, as awe, as gratitude. It doesn't matter. You decode them with the emotion decoder. Now, feelings can be placed right inside here, but they can't be put on a lab table with a magnifying glass like the other structures in the body. Those are physical structures, but our spiritual, the breath, you can't put the breath on the table. You can't put the heartbeat rhythm on the table. You can't put those feelings that we have, but feelings can't, just long, I'm gonna tell you it again, feelings cannot be put on the top of a table to be examined. But mindfulness, meditation, and spiritual practices and the emotion decoder can cultivate all of our emotions, make them better. But there's always a way to get to those emotions. So the spiritual response to all of this is experience. Science can measure the brain activity, I'll say it again, but hormone changes and heart rates and all that stuff, they can do all of that. But the feeling that lives inside of us within our consciousness can only be known about through our consciousness. So the person experiencing the feelings or emotions, what do? They get to say to me or you, I feel sadness or I feel joy, but the experience itself is felt from within that person. And this is where something very, very cool happens that I understood. The brain might generate signals, I might say, but the consciousness, my mind experiences the meaning. When you sit and you just reflect on you and reflect on your thoughts and share your thoughts, if you're in a group sitting doing these beautiful practices, that's when you're getting more and more information and knowledge into you, new information. Whatever your sadness signal could be for you. Oh, I'm getting ready to move and that I'm leaving that behind me. It doesn't have to be bad because you have this feeling of melancholy. It's just a feeling. Fear may signal you, and you might think it, but it's just something that feels unstable. Well, I don't know, when I move in that new place, am I going to be happy in that neighborhood? That's all. It's just a thing asking you for become aware of what you're about to step into, but also get grounded in mind, body, and spirit. That's the spiritual side of us. See, gratitude may be the signal, and that means that we are open, we're receptive, and we are so aligned with something larger than life itself. Because now you're on the unexpected part of the good. See, when we begin to decode these emotions, some things change, and especially how we relate to them. So you don't have to go run to the doctor to get stress medication when you're feeling down, because they're going to give you some. But they're going to give it to you. You go telling them that lately I know this one thing about, they ask every year when I go to the doctors, they always say, do you ever feel stressed? If I was to say yes, they'd but you know what I do? I say, yeah, but I can handle that. Because you got to let them know, don't train my brain to be, to decide that this is bad. Yes, some days you feel like, no, you do, but you can take that emotion and decode it and say to yourself, yeah, I just need to be grounded more. So let me just get over here and sit in this chair here and just sit and relax. Let me just turn on something and look at that. Let me stop, because that's when we start to practice, when we stop trying to get freaked out or overjoyed about stuff, because the emotion decoder is doing this for us. Instead of us asking, how do I get rid of this emotion, this feeling, this thing, going to the doctor is not going to help. What we can do is begin asking, what is the emotion trying to tell me? Remember, I always talk about wonder. This is still the same thing. It's just a different way of describing wonder. Now I'm using the word. It's just a word, the emotion decoder. What is this emotion trying to tell me? The beauty part about it is if we're paying attention, science helps us to understand all of these mechanisms, and for the brain and the body. Spiritual awareness helps us to understand the meaning of our experience. So once we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. I'm saying the same thing, but I'm always adding different words. And when those two words, science and spirit, come together, we begin to understand the language of our emotion. That's the emotion decoder's job. Emotions are not obstacles to our growth. They are a part of a regulation system within us. They are signals, and this language, they're signals for the language we live. I'm so grateful when I look out and I see my trees as I'm walking. I get this feeling of elation, and it makes me open. And then with that elation comes ideas for me to do the next thing. Now, I think it was a walk that I took that brought me back to doing this program. I'm 3 weeks in. Folks are enjoying it. They are literally working on the things that I give them. And it's all because we breathe, we talk, and we share. But these people are taking this thing and running with it, because it's a language to them that they really have not seen, but they're ready. And so anybody can be. So the emotion decoder became that way for me as an idea, because the practice is a spiritual practice for what? Self-awareness. And once we become self-awareness, like me, I'm using it the moment I pause long enough to say, wait a minute, what's happening right here inside me because I think I'm ready to just chew them up. I get on the phone. Amazon was telling me that, well, no, we can't send you that. It's subscribe and save. Long story short, I was not a happy camper about it. I let her know it, but I was not being nice at that point. I'm not being nice, and I'm listening to me. I know I'm not being nice, but at the same time, I'm saying you're trying to tell me you want me to pay again. Oh no! So that conversation ended well because they ended giving me all those products for free because they gave me a full refund and said keep it. You have to say, I know I'm upset, but I'm gonna have to go with this because this is the only way I can settle this. It's not that I'm being mean, guys. I don't look at it me being mean. I'm looking at it as me getting stuff done. Those are what my emotions, they were upset. Trust me. But at the same time, I understood them. Okay. It's when you recognize that every emotion carries information about the movement, about your environment. So you know what to do to carry it through. It's my consciousness, no matter what. I'm not a bad person because I tell you, I don't like what you're saying to me, or I will not tolerate it. Stop thinking that there's something wrong with you for putting, letting people know I'm not playing with you. You don't play with me that way. Because I had to go to 3 or 4 people because I wasn't ready to let go. I'm holding on with my teeth in you because it is my emotions that are getting me through this. And you got to use them or lose them. Because if you take it as, oh, slap me on that side because I want to be nice, you got it wrong. It's not about being nice. It's about being real, but being authentic with how you feel. Oh, I like that. It's not about being nice. It's about being real. It's about being authentic with how you can feel. Thank you. I'll bring that up again. Okay. An important thing to remember is this. Not everything meaningful in life can be measured in that single moment because I just measured that as I thought back to being on the phone with these people. Just thought about it. Not every meaningful thing in life can be measured in a single moment. It can't. Watch. Love can't be measured that way. Love is real and authentic. And if you saying it to somebody and you don't, honey, they know. You can't tell me you love me. You got to show me. Okay. And that's the way it is. Meaning can't be measured that way. True meaning. You can lie to yourself and believe that, yeah, this person is right for me. Oh, this person is wrong for me. Or whatever. Or yes, I will take this from you because I want you to think I'm a nice lady on calling you on this line, the Amazon. I want you to think I'm this nice lady who will take anything you give me. No, none of that can be measured like that. Or cannot be measured that way. The deeper the things that going into those emotions and you understand your emotions, you begin to be more authentic. I said, I know, at first I think I said, I know this lady thinking I'm mad at her, but I can't stop and tell her it's not. I got to finish my sentence. I have to get this point across because she's not going to get it this way. She's not going to get it with me. Okay, so I'll tell you what, because I know I'm different, but you might think it works for me, for you to say, okay, you slapped me over here, so let me just let you slap me over here. And let me see if this job works this way. It's on you. And the deeper movements of our oneness with spirit can't always be captured either. The moment we're in that, once you hook me into that place, a little different. Because once I got hooked into it, it's not being allowed. Once you hit me in a certain part, or you get hit in a certain part, you have to deal with that. You have to do the decoding of your emotions because we know they are real when we experience them. Oh, we do. So when that emotion arises, instead of pushing it or judging it as you're being mean or you're being nice or you're being taken advantage of, I heard her talking and I didn't hear a word she said because I don't know what she was saying, but I paused and I started decoding my actions, saying, well, okay, I know you are being mean or you're being loud, but you know what? She's going to have to get to what you want to say. And once I decoded that emotion, we went from there. 20 minutes later, I walked out with a bunch of free products, got back over $200 in a refund because I wasn't taking my teeth out of this deal. So because that feeling is not meant to be a disturbance, it's just meant to be something communicating with you, then why don't you listen to your own true, honest emotions? Our emotions are not trying to control. I said that earlier because we got to understand that. They're trying to communicate with us. Don't worry about communicating with that individual because once you get this right in here, you're going to get it right with them because she eventually heard me and got it right and gave me my money because I wasn't letting go. I wasn't saying, oh, I'm being mean. I didn't see it that way. Just like the man saw the creaking in the floor like a ghost or something. It was not. It just means that the weather expanded. Just like I saw that, this looks bad. But you know what? I decided it's not bad because I have to get to the other. As I said, it's not good or bad. I have to get to the other side of this, winning my money back because it's the truth. I'm winning. They are part of a deeper intelligence, our emotions, and they are moving through us 24/7, whether we're happy, not so happy, mean, if you want to call it mean. But anger is the strongest emotion. Anger is the one that moves, baby. One that has so much energy. Most of the times that anger got to me, big dollar deals happened. It's amazing. I walked out of the SBA office one year and I told him, you don't tell me what I'm capable of having because my credit works. It's you who don't want to give it to me. And I tell you what, I'm not dealing with you because there's other people to deal with. I walked out of there like a whirlwind. And you would say, Rosedale, that's so mean. But you, not me. I know that there's a deeper intelligence in me when I have to let off that steam. And when we learn to decode them, we begin to understand that that same intelligence moving through me in this instant with this person is the same thing that moves through my body, my mind, my feelings, and also through life itself. Because those trees blow violently when the wind is out there. How do you know that's not an anger from somewhere? You don't know that, but you were trained that must be polite. Because this is what polite looks like. We just need to learn the language of our emotions. And when we begin to learn that language, something shifts. Because now we're not just reacting to what we feel. Yeah, we're reacting, even if you're yelling or even if you're happy, but we're also relating to it. We're relating to it. So we're experiencing a part of ourselves that feels and listens to the part of ourselves that knows, we are just listening to, no, we're experiencing the part of ourselves that feels and listens to the part of ourselves that knows. So when we give, or when you give, and when you give to you to CSO Sean, you got to understand what you're doing. You are making an investment in consciousness, and you aren't just saying I'm donating. You are investing in a consciousness that has the power to change the world. Oh my God, I say that with no lightness to it whatsoever because of where I've come. I have come a long way and continuing coming up more and more. I ain't stopping here because I know that it's all about moving forward and about learning more about me. So you're investing in the emotion decoder. And that's the same thing like any other consciousness or any other speaker or anybody else have ever mentioned something. It's to awaken you and other people to the truth of who we are. I'm not speaking to you from a book. I'm not acting like, oh, well, this is the theory. No, I'm talking to you from live and lived experience. And this language that I speak is clear and I'm clear with my emotions. And your investments, what they do when you donate is they strengthen the emotion decoder this week. That's what I'm calling it. As we continue to hold this space for the people that haven't found us, that will find us, that's supposed to be here. And they learn to use it. So when you soften your guard and let your resistance decide to let your resources circulate, you begin to feel the same flow moving in your life. And as you align your giving with this flow, you position yourself to change, to heal, and to prosper right along with it. But you just can't be afraid to put that a little something in there. If you put in $5, you are showing your proof, your truth. You are showing that you have no fear. So as you give, just ask, am I ready to support a space like CSL Charlotte where they're getting people who are not just taught, but who are transformed by spiritual practice? Because that's what happens here. I've seen Alan, a total transformation in him last Monday night. So as we wrap our time together, we are definitely practicing using that emotion decoder this week. I know it. So use it to learn the language of your emotions. Keep listening. And so you can let go of what no longer serves you. I love saying that because I mean it now. Because you now understand you are controlling your own life now. Nobody else is. So remember, the universe is always supporting you on your journey. And until we meet again, practice using the emotion decoder and see who and what you are becoming all day long. And so it is.